What is up, RPG nerds? Welcome back to RPG Ranked. If you enjoy RPGs or Final Fantasy VI in general, please consider liking and subscribing and checking out more videos in the future. Alright, let's get right into this. Ranking the characters based off fan votes. So, if you haven't ever been on my website, it's rpgrank.com, and that is where I got the votes for the video. And if there are any tiebreakers, of course, I went over to the community channel to get some information. So, ranking all the characters in Final Fantasy VI, starting now. In last place, the fans voted with 0% of the vote and 9% of the tiebreaker vote. That's Umaro in 14th place. Umaro, yeah. If anyone voted anyone else but him in last, yeah, that would have been interesting. But really, Umaro is just easily the worst character in Final Fantasy VI. He has a couple of uses, like in the Colosseum or in the Cultist Tower. And he's fun, don't get me wrong. I mean, he's not terrible, but in a game so centered around magic and espers and special abilities, having a character that just brute forces their way through battle without being able to control them, it's not exactly the most appealing. Is it fun? Yes. Is he fun to use sometimes? Yeah. And it's kind of fun seeing that his natural stat progression, because if you do things right, like, you will just be absolutely OP. However, yeah, there was no one else that was going to be in last other than Umaro. I mean, I could have seen one other character, which is the next character on this list, maybe being in last, but Umaro just doesn't bring anything to the table that other characters can't, except for the Cultist Tower, being able to use physical attacks instead of just magic. And I know a lot of people bring that up, but really, like, why do you need physical attacks? I don't really see why you need physical attacks for this area. So yeah, I totally agree with the fans here. 0% for Umaro. Alright, in 13th place, also with 0% of the vote, plus 91% of the tiebreaker, is going to be Gogo, the other optional character. Gogo's good. And I understand why, like, he's a solid character, but he doesn't do anything too special. For example, Gogo, he can copy anything. He can mimic, and he can take other people's abilities. But the problem with Gogo is his stats are horrible without using espers. So if you don't have Gogo having espers, then he's just like super weak. Like, even at level 99, he's only going to be able to compare to like a level 60 other character. Like, it's pretty dang bad. And yeah, he can cast magic. Yeah, he can use lore. Yeah, he can use blitz. He can do all of that stuff. But what's really the point when you don't really need someone who can use multiple different abilities, when you can just have multiple people in the party using those abilities so much more effectively? So like, I mean, Ultima, instead of doing like, I mean, this is not like max level, but there's a time where Ultima, like hitting with the ultimate weapon and stuff, are doing like easy max damage with other characters, and I was only hitting in the 5,000-6,000s with Gogo. Like, it's a difference. Like, there, you can definitely tell that Gogo is lagging behind in that department, and I totally understand why Gogo was voted to be in 13th place. Alright, in 12th place on this list, yet another tie right out of the gate. We've got 2 ties in a row, and this time it's only 1%. Not a big upgrade here, but someone said, a couple people, probably like 5 people, said Strago was their favorite character in the game. And 1% of the vote and 37% of the tiebreaker. Strago definitely does have some things going for him. He has lore, and some of these lore abilities are really good. Mighty Guard, White Wind, Grand Delta. If you're into status ailments, Bad Breath, maybe if you're fine grinding out steps, Traveler can be really good. Like, there are a lot of good lore abilities here, although he is a late game character and he's pretty hard to unlock in the world of Ruin, so that's not really doing him too good. And his magic stats just pretty bad compared to the female characters. And he's not terrible, just honestly his lore isn't really enough to keep him in the party. I found myself sometimes even wanting to use Gogo because I could have the lore and at least have some other magic or something if I really wanted Mighty Guard. But I don't think Mighty Guard is anywhere near enough to say that Strago is a worthy character to use in battle. So I think he's nice and all. He's not bad by any stretch of the imagination, but he definitely is a bottom tier character, and I definitely agree here. Also, if anyone's interested in all of my opinions, how I ranked these characters, be sure to check out the video in the end screen. I will be putting the end screen, my ranking of all these characters. But anyway, let's move on to the next one. Tied with Strago on the website in 11th place is Relm, with also 1% of the vote, but 63% of the tiebreaker. So not as big of a difference in the tiebreaker as Umaro and Gogo, but still pretty solid. The thing Relm has going for her is she has pretty dang easily the best magic stat in the game. As well as that, she has really good costumes, like Strago, but Strago's magic stat's quite a bit worse. Best cost, like the costumes are really good in terms of buffing magic, as well as the brushes, which only Relm can equip. So she has some good stuff going for her, and she can equip female-only equipment. So she can equip some of the best options in the entire game. So that is a huge plus for Relm. But really, if you think about it, Relm, yes, has the most magic, but in terms of that being that important, it really isn't too important because you can always be buffing magic with Espers, and her control and sketch ability. Sorry, sketch and control. Control comes later. Abilities are just really mediocre. Aren't really too many times I would use them, except maybe trying to help teach some lore to Strago, but really in the end, that doesn't really matter. Relm is just pretty bad, and yeah, I think she definitely deserves 11th place. Alright, in 10th place is Mog, with 2% of the vote. I would put him a lot higher, but this is not my ranking. Mog, I get it. He has dance, which I feel like a lot of people are like, okay, well, dance is pretty terrible. First of all, wouldn't agree with that. I think it's not the best thing ever. But if you know what dance you're using, it can make Mog a pretty dang good support character, an okay damage dealer. It's not nearly as good as like Gao's Rage, but Mog's dance is not bad. I'm not gonna lie and say that it's a bad ability. It's just not a great ability, but it's still worth using from time to time. Like some of its healing abilities, let's see, like Arctic Hare, Sunbath, really good. Raccoon is a very solid ability that casts haste on the party. Forced Healing, Tapir, Rock Slide. Like there's a lot of nice abilities you can use through dance. My favorite dances are Earth Blues and Snowman Rondo, but yeah, and the big problem is he can stumble while dancing, which is really annoying. I think they might have fixed that in the Pixel Remaster version, maybe not though. But the stumbling can really bring his dance abilities lower. But really, I mean, Mog is a solid character if you're just considering his dance. But his abilities as a Dragoon are what really make him a good character. And I feel like that's what a lot of people don't think about too much. But he's one of the only characters that can equip spears. And especially once you get the Dragon Horn, you're going to be doing huge damage. So that's like, you can do like 4 times, like you can already be doing like a couple times damage just from using spears and jump. And then add on top of that, hitting 2 to 4 times with jump is pretty broken. Like Mog can be dishing out tons and tons of damage. There's one other character that can still do that better, but Mog is still a really good character, and its dance abilities can make him a good support character. I get why he's here, but I don't agree. Kind of sad seeing Mog solo, but I understand that nobody really voted him as the best character. Alright, in 9th place is going to be Setzer with 3% of the vote. Setzer, right when you get him, has some awesome capabilities with Slot. Prismatic Flash is about as broken as Auto Crossbow, if not more broken. He has some nice healing abilities. He has some nice damaging abilities. His Slot is all around pretty good unless you get the one that, well, gives you game over. But Setzer has some nice Slot abilities, and he still doesn't suffer too much in the World of Ruin, because if you just quickly go to Kefka's Tower, get the fixed dice real quick, and then leave, you can really quickly get one of the best weapons in the entire game with Setzer. Add a really good card like the Death Terra, you'll be doing tons of damage. Problem with Setzer is he just is outclassed. Like, why would I use Setzer when I could be using Locke with his Valiant Knife and his Ultima weapon combo? Why would I be using Setzer when I could be double casting Ultima all the time? You know what I'm saying? Like, there's just definitely a reason. Like, Setzer isn't bad. He really is a great character in battle, but not one that I would be like, oh, okay, he's better than anyone else, you know? So I get Setzer's placement in 9th place. That makes a lot of sense. Alright, in 8th place is Gao with 4% of the vote. I'm still surprised by some of what we're seeing here, but Gao is really good. I think that Gao, the biggest problem with Gao is if you don't know how to use him, then that is a huge problem. If you're not really... I feel like Gao is one of those characters that's not great the first playthrough, but once you really get the hang of the rage ability, it can become one of the most broken abilities in any Final Fantasy game. Just being able to have all this huge variety of things he can do. Like, if you want a certain elemental damage, you can do it. If you want a certain physical attack, you can do it. If you want... Like, you can do anything with Gao. Just... sky's the limit. And you can... The rage ability is so unique and something I wish we could see. Maybe get rid of the Velt idea and just do it with monsters, but this is something we need to see in more games. I love the rage abilities in Final Fantasy VI, and I think that Gao does a really good job of being a fun, versatile character to use, a really good character in battle. I'm surprised by how low he is, but I can see it, because he's really not a very accessible character. He's pretty hard to get the hang of. He doesn't have a weapon. Like, he's a tricky character, but he's worth using. But yeah, he's more of a hidden gem. Also, I feel like more people are probably saying he's like their second favorite. Maybe not second favorite. Like, I feel like he's just a solid pick. I don't feel like he's ever like a top 4 pick, but he's still always someone that, like, when I'm making 2 parties, the Phoenix Cave, or 3 in Kefka's Tower, or the Dragon's Den, Gao's always going to be one of my party leaders. Like, I think he's really good. Anyway, next on this list, with 5% of the vote, and not 86, that is the other character. 7th place on the vote is Cyan, with 5% of the vote and 14% of the tiebreaker vote. Oh my goodness, Cyan is this high. I am so surprised right now, because I go on game FAQs and stuff, and I see everyone trashing on Cyan for being so bad. But I have come to realize, like in Pixel Remaster, the Bushido times are so much quicker. This leads to Cyan being so much better. He can do like his 4 times damage ability without having to worry about a crazy charge up time. And I think this makes him a so much better character in the Pixel Remaster version. That actually might be enough justification for me to actually play that version sometime in my life. Because I can't with the Pixel Remasters. Getting rid of bonus content, I am all about that bonus content. And nothing is going to make me want to play this version over, like, the Steam version that I've already bought. But whatever. Anyway, Cyan is a very, very good character in the Pixel Remaster version, but he kind of sucks so bad in the other version. So, you know, I think this is a solid place for him. A solid 5%, 14% vote. I mean, there's a lot of characters in this game, so even good characters are going to be getting like 4 or 5% of the vote. But Cyan is really good in the latest version, but not really good in any of the other versions. And I mean, he's a great, solid character. Like, even in the older versions, he's a really, really good pick in the World of Balance. Not in the World of Ruin at all, but, you know, Cyan always has his time to shine, so. Alright, in 6th place, also with 5% of the vote and 86% of the tiebreaker, is Shadow. Shadow is one of my favorite characters, both in battle and in terms of story and personality. But Shadow, I think, is a very solid pick here. Shadow, unlike what he looks like, I feel like he's actually the best support character in the game, because his super high evasion and his decent health stat and all that stuff, like, he will, if you have a good, like, I don't know, like prayer beads, a sword breaker, and some other ability, like, you can make him lit, and with interceptor, you can make him so he's basically never gets hit by physical attacks, which means he can be an amazing healer if you know what you're doing right. So I think Shadow can easily be one of the best characters. I totally understand his 6th place vote. His shurikens are really good and all that stuff, but there are a couple downsides. First of all, you don't get him that much in the World of Balance, and he can kind of just leave your party at any time, so that's kind of frustrating. And also, another big problem with Shadow is going to have to be the fact that he could totally be missed. Like, if you haven't played the game before, you might just let Shadow die, which is super, super sad. And it's just, you know, gotta be mindful of saving people. But Shadow's really good. Shuriken abilities, his great healing capabilities. Like, even though he doesn't start doing that much damage, like, he starts being a pretty weak damage dealer in the World of Ruin. His evasion more than makes up for it. So, I definitely understand why Shadow's is high on the list. Alright, finally, these top 5 characters actually have decent percent votes on them. So in 5th place is Sabin with 9% of the vote. I will agree, Sabin is a really good character, and he's probably the most fun character to use because his blitz abilities are awesome. However, there definitely are not too many things that make Sabin like a top 3 character, top 4, but I definitely see why he's this high on the list, because first of all, he's so broken during the World of Balance, let's be honest, he's so broken. And then later in the World of Ruin, he starts getting more versatility in his blitz attacks. So he has his powerful, like, single target ones, but he also gets Rising Phoenix and Razor Gale, which make him like a nice multi-target damage dealer, and with some support skills with Chakra and Soul Spiral. So, I mean, he's great. He's not going to be dealing consistently above 9,999 damage like a lot of other characters can, but for being basically the king or the runner-up of the best characters in the World of Balance, and being a still decent, solid enough pick, I wouldn't say he's a top 4 pick. I'd probably even put him behind Gao in the World of Ruin, but I totally get why he's here, and I mean, he's super fun to use, so I totally understand his placement here. I don't really agree, but I think that it's fair enough that he's in 5th place on this list. Alright, finally, breaking the 10% vote. In 4th place is Edgar with 15% of the vote. That's kind of high. I honestly thought Edgar was going to be higher, not going to lie. Like, I always see him being at the top of people's lists, praising how broken he is, that he can use the Master Scroll and the Genji Glove and the Dragon's Horn and the Dragon Boots, and he has auto crossbow and all that stuff. And yeah, I'm going to have to agree with all that stuff said, so I'm surprised he's in 4th place. But like I just said, he has all that stuff going for him. Tools, different stuff. But when it boils down to it, tools aren't that great after the World of Balance. And in the World of Ruin, there are characters that can do magic better, that can do Master Scroll Genji Glove better. So I see why he's not at the top, but I also don't agree too much. But I also think that, yeah, this is a totally valid pick in my opinion. Alright, in 3rd place is Celes with 16% of the vote, barely edging out over Edgar. And I think Celes totally deserves this spot on the list. She can innately learn magic, she can have the Genji Glove and the Ultimate Weapon and the Master Scroll and do all that crazy stuff. She has Runic, which can be really good if you're that type of person who loves Runic. I don't like it much personally, but it can be a really broken ability if you're using it right. Celes just has a lot going for her. Great damage dealer, great support character, great magic caster and physical attacker in general. Like, she is a Magitech Knight. She can do it all. But there's still 2 other characters that got voted higher on this list. Alright, in 2nd place with 19% of the vote, but 0% of the tiebreaker vote, is Locke. This just goes to show the people on the website really like Locke, like almost 20%, but the people on the channel do not like Locke very much. And, I mean, I understand why. He's so bad in the World of Balance, but he's also the best damage dealer in the game. So, I don't know. I guess it kind of makes sense that he's this high, though. Valiant Knife and Ultimate Weapon, so powerful, so incredibly broken. Can easily be doing like 80,000 damage in one turn. I also thought it was super funny that someone was trying to explain to me the strategy in one of the comments. Like, I know the strategy. I get a lot of comments that are like, bro, you can do this. I'm like, I know, I played the game. Anyway, I think it's hilarious when I get comments that make it sound like I haven't played the game, but it's okay. Just wanted to point that out. I thought that was pretty funny. But anyway, Locke is a really good character. Valiant Knife, Ultimate Weapon, doing tons of damage. And he can also steal different things, which stealing isn't the greatest in this game compared to some other games, but the things you can steal are all incredible. So, stealing, doing tons of damage, I'm not going to argue with Locke's placement. But in first place is the main character herself, Terra, with 19% of the vote and 100% of the tiebreaker vote. She has innate magic, so she can be an awesome Ultima damage dealer. She also has great strength and female equipment and stuff. She's basically Celes, but a little different, like most people say. But she can dish out tons of damage both physically and magically. Her trance ability makes her an absolutely overpowered character during the world balance as long as you don't abuse her trance ability. And honestly, Terra totally deserves the top spot. I don't think she's my favorite character, but I totally understand. She has a lot of stuff going for her. She's very versatile, and I think that she is definitely a top 4 pick, if not my favorite. But I get the favorite here. Thank you guys all for watching. This was the 3rd episode of Fan-tastic, a series where I'm going to be listening to your guys' opinions and making videos on it. And if you really enjoyed this video, please be sure to check out the other ones I've had. I made an Octopath Traveler 2 characters, Fan-tastic video, as well as the Final Fantasy 9 characters. I'll post the Final Fantasy 9 one in the end screen, as well as my ranking of the Final Fantasy 6 characters. And if you enjoyed this video, please be sure to share it to other people who might enjoy it as well. Like, subscribe, and consider looking out for more Final Fantasy content, more Fan-tastic videos in the future. Thank you all again for stopping by, and have a phenomenal day. Peace out, RPG nerds.